About some incidents about racism. Yes, racism. Unfortunately, racism has been around forever, still here in Texas. And, of course, this is a southern state, a red state. So we have a lot of slavery past issues. We have the big cotton farms down here, and there's still a lot of racism today. But there's a way you can do it. There's a way to overcome all this stuff. You can't just be thinking about racism all the time. But today we've had a few incidents back to back about racism. So, I like to give it to you raw. I like to give you, hardcore facts. This is not opinions. So, I recorded this by Fox 26. Hopefully they don't mind. Fox 26 just reported that a Nazi group, yes, a Nazi group, or like Aryan type of brotherhood, or pro-white, have left little, notes filled with rocks and filled with other articles of hate, in that there should be a uprising in 2026, and I'm assuming that's with the next presidential election. And it's sad, that it's really sad that it's still around and that people still hate just based on color and gender. And then secondly, we had a incident of racism or anti-Semitic type of hate. I guess it's another hate crime. They're looking for that gentleman. We have both videos on tape. We're going to be taking a look at these both videos because this is hardcore. This is like number one reason why I like to bring it to your attention. This is not my opinion. This is just things that are happening that people think that racism doesn't exist, but it's still very strong, and it's stronger in the South, unfortunately. And I'm born and raised in the South. I'm from Houston, the Houston Heights. And these letters were actually dropped off at some of these homes, one of them in my neighborhood in Houston Heights. So it's incredible that the amount of hate that's still here inside. So let's, by all means, let's take a look here. Let's see what we got here. Let's just take a look at this together.
Slide tonight, looking more into these flyers that have been popping up in various areas.
Yeah, anyway, this is just awful. Just recently here in the Heights, people woke up and found these outside their homes. Hate-filled messages in bags with rocks. This keeps happening more and more across the area. More racist flyers littering driveways in the Houston area.
I don't know, I'm a loss for words.
Letters promoting white supremacy in bags with rocks left outside Cassandra Pittman's home in Cypress.
I then have to explain to my grandkids what this is.
Up and down their street, she and her grandchildren picked up and threw away as many flyers as they could.
I know that some people feel this way, and I don't understand why. I just feel like this shouldn't be happening at all. We're all just people. There shouldn't be a difference.
So far this year, we've reported on several of these hate messages left outside Houston area homes. Racist flyers found in Katy, Meyerland, the Heights, and Atascocita.
Maybe 1 or 2 weekends passed by this year without us seeing some form of activity related to the distribution of white supremacist propaganda.
The Anti-Defamation League received more than 4,600 reports of white supremacy propaganda nationwide just last year, almost 500 incidents in Texas.
Every time one of these kinds of distributions happen in a neighborhood is that it wakes something up and they become more committed to fighting hate than ever before.
To bring this here, maybe thinking something was going to happen to set us apart, they were wrong.
The grandma now sharing a message for whoever left this hate-filled letter outside her house.
I love you, and you can't make me hate you. That's all that I can say today.
So it's not
So, as you've seen right there, the hate is still very powerful here in Houston. If we go for, if it's in racism, or even today as another video that you're about to see right here is anti-Semitic hate. And so they're looking for this gentleman that you see right here. And I'm going to show you that video real quick. But this is a touchy subject, being a Mexican American, born in the United States. It's hard. I was just talking to my friend Jeff. 2 days ago, actually. This came up, and he goes, that I travel a lot. I said, yeah, I travel a lot, for work. And it's different in some of these countries that I go to because they don't see color. And he's like, he's a white gentleman, and he's one of my best friends. But he's like, you don't have racism? And I'm like, to myself, I'm thinking, how do you know this? I have to work harder than most people. We have to work really hard to break into these markets that I like to break into, So, growing up, in fact, a lot of Mexicans, we only rented apartments or rented homes in Houston. We didn't really own homes. So, they say you are who your friends are, So when we're limited in this circle of poverty, people that we know in this circle of poverty, we're limited on connections as we grow into adults, So it's harder for us to break into a market where it's predominantly, white people. And I love white people. A lot of my best friends are white. I love everybody, actually. White, black, green, Asian, Mexican, gay, black, trans. What doesn't matter to me? I don't see color. But breaking into this market, there's a lot of things you can do to overcome racism here in Texas. If you're moving from California or you're moving from New York, you're moving from these where they're very liberated and they don't see much color, because I lived in LA as well and they don't see it. I was easily to break into the $1 million homes very easily because they didn't see color. They're like, this guy does a great job. He's punctual. He's doing better. He give me a discount. Like, why not? But here in Texas, I had to work, I want to say 10 times as harder as my competition. And I think that's what you have to do. Unfortunately, racism sometimes, or a lot of times it's embedded in people's, it's embedded in their, what they've been grown up with, like their parents or their grandparents or their great grandparents have embedded it in them. They don't really know why they hate, In fact, a couple of my friends that are, they're friends now, but they are, they tell me, they hate a certain color. And, I'm a little bit opposed to that, but, everybody has their own opinion, And they'll work with us, they'll work with Mexicans, they'll work with blacks, but inside them, they'll still say, nah, I want this. Or I've heard a lot of times from my friends say, I don't want my daughter or son to bring a, Mexican or black girl or boyfriend back to the home to be represented as, a husband or a serious boyfriend. They oppose that, or interracial relationships. And it's a trip, But being, here to serve clients, and, I just kind of like hush and just like shake my head. And I think that's a lot. I don't know if that's really the right thing to do, but, what can I do? How can I correct someone that's my client, that I'm going to be selling their properties for? So it's an interesting thing that we have to put up with, here in Texas. Texas is a great state. It's a great place to live. But coming here from these different locations like LA and New York and up north and all the good stuff, you're going to have a shocker if you're Mexican or black. Because people will, not all the time, but every now and then you're going to run across some. If you're black, you're going to hear that N word. If you're Mexican, you're going to hear like little slanders like wetbag or some stuff like that, or you won't understand why somebody won't do business with you even though you're better than the competition. Like you have more school, you have more experience, you're harder working, but you just can't figure out what's happening, and it happens, but there are some things we're going to talk about at the end of this video. Right now, we're going to look at this anti-Semitic remark. This just happened 17 hours ago, or not 17, a few hours ago. Let's take a look.
I better
that's harsh to see. And this is just a person just woke up to go walk their dog and having on this beautiful day we have here, just to walk their dog, and this is what you get. And so, it's upsetting, but being, I'm a stoic. There's a philosophy called stoicism. And what that means is that people are allowed in society, the environment, everything except your mindset and your perspective and how you react. That's the only thing that you can control. And I think that's how I was, another tip that I was able to overcome these things. Anything can happen and anybody could say anything. As long as they don't touch you or touch me, then it's fine. Everybody has their right to opinion. It's their First Amendment right. But it doesn't mean that I shouldn't present this type of information to you guys, especially from people that are moving to the Houston area. They shouldn't understand about, especially like I said, if you're coming from like California or New York or up north, then you're going to have a lot. If you're Mexican or black, especially black, you're going to have a lot more issues and a lot more things come at you than you're used to. And these are just facts, it's just like, this is not opinion based. Now, in 2021, we've had another racial issue with the Asians because of the pandemic, more hate. And we've had a lot of hate crimes, or a spike in hate crimes, should I say, for the Asians based on the pandemic, which is just ridiculous. But, I'm just telling you the real deal. You can check on HPD's site, and there's some little information right here. Houston had a spike. You can get my URL, houstonpublicmedia.org. You can just Google this, or it goes to the link right there and all that good stuff. So, there's some ways you can deal with it. You got to deal with this hate. And I think the way that, I should say the way I've dealt with it, right? Because I can only speak by my experience, and I'm not even black. I'm Mexican. I'm just very dark skinned. Growing up, I think if you're in Texas and you're a young man or young woman and you're serving the public, actually, not even that, but more so if you're serving the public. But when you go to work, a lot of us, especially that come from humble means, like Section 8 or welfare or food stamps or anything like that, then we don't understand the appearance in conforming to society. In fact, we're almost taught to rebel against conforming to society. And I had a hard time dealing with that as a 20-something when I was, 20 years ago, unfortunately. There's a lot of times passed by. But, I think parents out there, uncles and friends and maybe like some kind of mentors out there, if you have a young man, you see someone that's maybe needs a little bit of direction, here's some tips that you should share with them. Number one is that we have to dress for success. We have to dress for success. And let me just switch screens real quick. What I mean by that is because for so long, in fact, it's so sad that I had to learn this from a person from Twitter. One day I was selling houses in Galleria. I was selling at lofts on Post Oak, Lopo. And the houses were not expensive, not that expensive, about $400,000. And this is when I was 25, maybe 4 or 5 years into my career, or a few years. And a guy from Twitter, I was messaging folks, doing marketing, prospecting, trying to see if I can, get some business going. This was during the recession. So it was like '07. Okay. And so I was doing some Twittering and, engaging with people. It's very important to engage. And he goes, how am I supposed to give you my business and you got a faux hawk? My haircut. I had a faux hawk back in the day. And it resonated with me even till today. It resonated. It kind of sat like, here goes this guy. He was a white gentleman, but he didn't base himself on race. I think he didn't say anything about that. He just said something that like drove like a little pin needle. He drove like a little pin into my heart. And he was just like, how am I supposed to give you business? How am I supposed to give you business and you got a faux hawk, So I thought, and he, at first I was kind of like pissed. At first I was a little bit pissed. But then I seen, okay, now I know what he's talking about. Now I see what he's talking about. You have to conform to society. Hold on one second. I got a couple of messages here. Hold on one second. Oh man. Restream. Oh no. Here we go. I'm sorry. YouTube. Got all kinds of stuff going here. See here, your videos. Let me see what Mr. So-and-so says here. Content. There we go. Come on, computer. I'm not paying all this money for this stuff to crash on me, right? Okay, there it goes. Okay, great. So I think that little pin that, with that tweet response saying that, how am I supposed to give you your business if you have a faux hawk? And I kind of woke me up about how important appearance is. It's not about, how can I say this? Conforming to society. It's about communicating to everyone, to the general public that sees you, who you are and who you want to be and who you aspire to be. So it's very important that you dress for success. So at the bare minimum, young people out there that are watching this, put on a nice collar shirt, long sleeve. If you're a professional, you need to be wearing a nice collar shirt. When it's time and it's appropriate, it's a little bit more, you may get into some more prospects, somebody that be around or somebody that can launch your career. Wear a nice little jacket. And if it's going a little bit more successful, that's at the bare minimum. And then one more step would be a nice tie. That just like, oh, wow, this guy's really trying to do something. Make sure that your shoes are clean. Make sure they're shined. Make sure they're tied. Make sure your pants are not saggy or anything like that. And I know my black friends I have a lot of young kids that I mentor at, like the YMCA and Big Brothers and Big Sisters. They love wearing their pants very baggy. And I know it's in my opinion, it's like a rebellious, that's like cool trend, but it's also rebellious because it gets a reaction out of, a lot of professionals and people. They frown upon it, but they kind of feed on it. But in essence, what you're doing is kind of you're kind of like, you put in a fork in your shoe, kind of. You're just stabbing your own shoe. You're just stabbing your own self, because every single day you're communicating this to the general public, to the environment. You're letting people know that you're going against society. And if you're, even if you were to be a rapper or something, you don't want that necessarily. You want to be able to say, I'm willing to work with people. I'm willing to be a professional. Even rappers are successful business people. They know how to communicate. In fact, you could say they know how to put teams together. They didn't land this way by themselves. They put a professional team together. It's what they did, teamwork. So, that's number one for all my people out there that have, like a minority, some youngster out there that you could mentor. That's your way to inspire every single day. That's one of my steps in my daily routine, is inspire, is to, for some, no, I don't want anything in return. I want to give to the public. I want to give to someone to make their life a little bit better. And I think that all of us can do that, you know, and that could be your way of paying it forward. And whether you be in God or karma, the universe, whatever the case may be, you know, this stuff, all these energies will come back to you as blessings, or the universe, karma, whatever, you know, whatever you believe in. So there's a lot of, you know, there's racism. There's a lot of racism here in Texas for sure. But we have to put our blinders on, folks. We got to put our blinders on, and we got to keep running our race. You know, and remember about stoicism. The only thing that we can, the only thing we can control is our reaction to events and to people and what they say. We can't control anyone's mouths. You know, whatever they do on their terms, whatever they do, that's fine. Whatever they say to you is fine. But you know, it's only thing we can control in stoicism, this philosophy that's been around for thousands of years, is how we react. You know, are you going to choose that? Are you going to let that person inside you and get you red and hot? And that's what they want. Have that reaction. And stoicism can go into your business life and into your personal, into every aspect of your life. It's how a reframing, if you want to say, your perspective on how you view the world and the environment and what you've been given to. If that makes any sense. By reframing, what I mean is that every single situation that you have can be reframed, especially, you know, bad situations. You can reframe them. You know, this person that's speaking bad to you, you know what? I'm going to reframe that perspective. This person speaking bad to me, it gives me a chance to experience my patience. You know, am I patient? Can I get my patience a little bit better? Am I a bigger person? You know, it's interesting. We're going to talk a little bit more about reframing the mindset and what is the mindset and how that can make you a better person. I think it's very, very important, especially dealing here in, you know, Texas. Yeah, we have a lot of racism. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but you can overcome. You know, in fact, it's so crazy that a lot of my white friends, they don't even see me as Mexican. They'll just be like, oh, you know, well, that's just Alan, let them on in. Hell, they'll even invite me to some of their crazy events. You know, like, it's like, well, hey, did you forget I'm Mexican? Like, no, Alan, you're not Mexican. I'm like, yeah, I'm Mexican, man. He goes, oh, okay, you know, so, you know, it's just like the way you portray yourself, and the way you portray yourself is how you communicate to the world. And the way you communicate to the world is going to open up lots of doors, or it can also close those doors. You know, so you have to look good and dress for that job. You know, you got to dress for what you know, have you ever heard of fake it to make it? Well, I'll tell you a story. During the recession, I didn't have enough money for a suit. So I went down to the Salvation Army. It's right over there off what is that? Yale in the Heights. They have a Salvation Army, and I got a bunch of suits. I think for $15 or $20, and I took them down to the tailor, and I had him tailor them for another $20. So I would have literally my suits were worth, less than $70. But I made them look good. The cards that God given me at that present time, I had to make it work. I had to fake it to make it, you know, and I think that's important. You got to fake it to make it, man. If you want to get to that next level of lifestyle, especially in real estate. Hold on one second. Facebook. I got a lot of comments coming in now. I knew I would in this racism stuff, you know, and it's unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is, man. There's racism down here, that's for sure. But you know, we got to deal with it. We can deal with it. Say, oh, well, that's got that. Okay. All right. Let me put this on mute real quick. Edward Solano said they hate fat folks. My boy Edward, he's crazy. He's a Houstonian and Houston Heights guy too. And nobody hates fat. In fact, people love fat people because they're so fun. You know, fat people are fun. I shouldn't say fat, little chubby around that way. So at least you know. Did you know that they consider being overweight as being luxurious in some countries. Did you know that? And probably in Houston too, all over. When people, because they can afford to go out to eat fancy steaks and fancy foods, they're eating well, they're over lavish, you know. So that's interesting. But about the racism, we have to overcome this, folks, and share love. As far as my white folks out there, I love my white people out there. Oh, let's see. I got a little thing here. It says, I don't know what that is. I understand. Okay. Let me say, hold on. Let me see here in Houston Heights. Let me see what's going on over there. These are all different channels that I have. I got the Facebook Heights. We got like almost 40,000 fans. Thank you so much for coming by. I love that. But as far as my white people out there, I love you guys. But I would say one thing of advice, and I know that especially white professionals, Caucasian professionals, we seem to hire based on comfort or for services or, even a career or a job opportunity, something may come up. I would kind of recommend maybe think, not all the time, but giving, because I know you guys are, I know a lot of my friends like Jeff, and then they keep hiring, more Caucasian because they're comfortable. They can relate to them. They know them, even though they may not be the best for the job. So I would, possibly every now and then, give an opportunity to somebody that you may not be comfortable because you're not experienced. You don't have a lot of experience with that race or gender or, whatever the case may be. Give that person an opportunity, maybe even put them on probation. Let them know, hey, I'm going to give you a 3-month probation. Let's see how this works out. I'm gonna, give you a trial. I'll give them a trial. It doesn't mean you have to go all in on this guy or girl or gal. Just give them a little trial. Say, hey man, you know what? I'm gonna try something different. I'm gonna add a little diversity to my team, and that's okay. Did you know there's a Harvard study out there just recently, and I thought this study was amazing. So they took a bunch of Ivy Leaguers to figure out some kind of problem they're having with some kind of algorithm, right? All the Ivy Leaguers could not figure this algorithm out. They don't understand. They're like, why are we not getting the right amount? Why are we not getting the right answer here? And it was so strange. So they're like, you know what? Let's get someone not from an Ivy League. Let's get someone from way out, somebody totally different. So the reason why they did that is because it offered them a way to review a problem from a different angle, like a different perspective. All the Ivy Leaguers, even though they were very intelligent, they were trained and educated, went to school in the same manner. So they could only see that problem in one way. They can't see the other. They like, the other guy's like, hold on, let me just take a look here. What's happening? Oh, did you look on this side? They're like, let me look over here. Let me look at this. Why are we always looking at he start looking at things differently. They're like, oh my God. So it's just like amazing when you give someone an opportunity that's, not fitting in that perfect square, maybe a little different, maybe with the faux hog that I used to have. Giving someone an opportunity, and I think that's the way a lot of my Caucasian folks, I know you guys have good hearts. I want to say most of them have good hearts, and they're willing to change. They don't know how to. They may not know exactly, they don't know how to get in there. We all attract the same type of people most of the time. So we have to make an effort to get out of our circles a little bit. we got to make an effort. It's not going to happen. I'm going to attract Mexican people. And if you want to get into a different market like the way I did, if you want to get into a different social circle like I wanted to, then you're going to have to do something different. They say the definition of being crazy and insane is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. That means you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over. And you're like, why am I getting the same results? And that's why, because you're not doing something different. You know, so I think all of us, I mean, I remember this one time, this is so funny. I had a lady friend named Anna. Anna was telling me, you know what? Every single boyfriend I get always treats me bad, and, you know, does these things. And I'm like, you know, Anna, you know, we've been friends for 30 years since grade school. You know, the only common denominator here is you. Do you understand that? There's something about you that's you're attracting this type of person, or you are attracted to these type of characters. You know, not saying that that person is bad or good. I don't know these guys. I'm just saying that all of us, we all need to do something a little bit different if we want some different results. And I know all my friends out there, a lot of my white friends out there may be like, you know, Alan, I got a bunch of friends. Do you really have you made a conscious effort to make friends, you know, getting outside of your comfort zone? Let's, you know, try something different. In our discomfort is when we grow as people. Did you know that? Not when you're comfortable. Not when you're comfortable. When you're comfortable and cozy, you're in your bed, you got your little cozy, you got your little Netflix on, air conditioning's nice and cold. You're not growing then. You only grow when you're out of comfort, discomfort. That's when we're growing, becoming better as people. So yeah, you know, going back to racism, yes, there's racism here, but we can overcome. And by little, and in Texas, it's harder. I understand, you know, it's not really your fault. It's been embedded in you from your parents and grandparents, and you don't really know why you hate this race or color or they're, you know, gay or transgender. You don't understand why. You can't figure it out. It's just been embedded in you. Your parents saying stuff in the background, maybe not even teaching you, but teaching you by example. I think that's strong right there. By teaching you by example. A lot of people don't understand that our parents teach us. We all learn by example. Whatever your parents did is what we are going to do. So let's break this down. Let's break this chain and start treating people a little bit better. I don't want you to make a huge chain going out there, try to do some picket sign or something like that. Don't want that. What I want you to do is just make a small, tiny chain. Small, little tiny change. And every single day, you make a little something. Every week, every month, make a little change. You know, I'm going to do this, you know, and we all grow as one. In fact, we're going to end this video with that. We're going to overlook. Where is it at? Oh, boy. Here it goes right here.
A white revolution. So Fox 26's Matthew Cedar joins us live tonight. Looking more into these flyers that have been popping up in various areas.
Yeah, anyway, this is just awful. Just recently here in the Heights, people woke up and found these outside their homes. Hate-filled messages in bags with rocks. This keeps happening more and more across the area. More racist flyers littering driveways in the Houston area.
I don't know, I'm a loss for words.
Letters promoting white supremacy in bags with rocks left outside Cassandra Pittman's home in Cypress.
I then have to explain to
Up and threw away as many flyers as they could.
I know that some people feel this way, and I don't understand why. I just feel like this shouldn't be happening at all. We're all just people. There shouldn't be a difference.
So far this year, we've reported on several of these hate messages left outside Houston area homes, racist flyers found in Katy, Meyerland, the Heights, and Atascocita.
Maybe 1 or 2 weekends have passed by this year without us seeing some form of activity related to the distribution of white supremacist propaganda.
The Anti-Defamation League received more than 4,600 reports of white supremacy propaganda nationwide just last year, almost 500 incidents in Texas.
Every time one of these kinds of distributions happen in a neighborhood is that it wakes something up and they become more committed to fighting hate than ever before.
To bring this here, maybe thinking something was going to happen to set us apart, they were wrong.
The grandma now sharing a message for whoever left this hate-filled letter outside her house.
I love you, and you can't make me hate you. That's all that I can say to them.
So it's not illegal for people to share these hate-filled messages because of the First Amendment. But if you do find them, police do want you to report them. We're live in the Heights tonight. Matthew Cedar from Fox 26 News.
Look at that. It's an ugly ass motherfucker. Yeah, fuck you. Take your Jewish technology and film me, boy. You little motherfucking pussy. I'm in the street, boy. Come at me. I'll beat the fuck out of you. Jewish couple right there. Jewish couple. Jewish couple. Jewish couple. Look at that fat motherfucker. Probably doesn't get outside. Jewish couple. Film me, boy. I'm better looking than you. Motherfucker. What the fuck you filming it for? USA. The Jews. You got an ugly fucking boyfriend. Like all white girls that take pictures and Mexicans and fucking sheets all over the goddamn place. Ugly motherfuckers. Film me, boy. Film a real man. Little bitch walking there on the sidewalk. Fuck you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Ugly ass bitch. Ugly ass little. What are you, cheap? Mexican? I don't know what the fuck you are. Ugly.
Oh boy, that is just terrible. That is just terrible, folks. And that's just, oh, excuse me. It's just a pure example of, racism at its worst, So, yeah, I think living here in Texas is great, but, it comes with the downside. We got the cheap land, we got the great big houses, but it doesn't come 100% without some kind of cost. Sometimes if you're black or Mexican, you come to Texas, you're going to expect to have something like this happen every now and then. Unfortunately, a lot of my white folks, my white friends, they don't understand because they never experienced it. And that's why I like to show, hardcore evidence that it's out there. It exists. It hasn't happened to you because, of course, you're not a minority. You don't know. So, yeah, it's a little bit harder for Mexican and black folks in Texas, especially if you're coming from New York or coming from California. But it's still the pros outweigh the cons. Every now and then you're going to run across an asshole like this. But, in this situation, I really don't recommend this. Look, they had the German Shepherd and they had the other big dog. But I don't recommend following that person. When you have someone like this he looks like he's like a meth addict or something, or he may be a little bit off. I don't know. Just turn. You can go the opposite direction. You can also turn around, go the other direction, And yeah, some of my minority friends are like, screw that. Again, but that's not a part of stoicism. It's like, now it's messed up your day, or at least it's going to be sitting on your mind all day. You had an opportunity that 1 second, as soon as he opened his mouth, say something back, turn around, going back, let this guy pass, Because here in Texas, it's gonna happen. Every now and then you'll hear the N word, you'll hear the W word, wetbag, stuff like that. This is just 100% raw. I don't like to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to tell you, like everything's all roses here in Texas when it's really not. So if you find this not true, please let me know in the comments below. I love to hear from you guys. Like and subscribe so we can share this knowledge getting out there. We're on YouTube as the Houston Heights, as you can see here. Your channel right here. Homes of Heights. Type in that. I think we're just Houston Heights, but you can type in homesofheights.com. I'm sure we'll come up right on up. I'm Alan Jimenez, real estate broker for almost 20 years now, since 05. So if you need anything, I hate to have this as a bad connotation or something like that, or a bad taste in your mouth, but I wouldn't be the person who I am without giving you the real deal about moving here to Houston. A lot of times I'll tell you guys, even like yesterday when I was telling you, living inside the loop is expensive. You can live in a big, beautiful house just 20 minutes away. Why do you want to live so close in town and spend, $500,000? That same house is going to be like $250, just 20 minutes away, $300,000, something like that. So, I'm giving you real information that's without a benefit to me. Yeah, it's like I'm giving you information that may not even be, actually not even benefit, but actually may go the other way, because you're may not move to Texas, or you may not buy an inner loop property. You may just rent, and that's fine. There's plenty of business. But I think by giving you that honesty and giving you the real deal about what's happening here in Texas, you'll find it appreciative. And anyways, I'll see you guys on the next one. I'm over and out. Bye-bye.